Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to go over one of the questions that I get asked the most here on the channel and also when I'm out and about flying. And that is, how did I get started and then get so hooked with these things? Turbines, jet engines and basically jet powered models. Well, the funny thing about this story is that it wasn't really a decision that I made myself. It was almost by accident. So this goes back to 2008 when a good friend of mine wanted to learn how to fly turbine models. Unfortunately, his skill set wasn't quite there yet and he wanted my help. Now, at that time I was completely focused on IMAC, pattern and 3D aircraft. Jets weren't something that I'd even looked at. They were way above my price range, and basically my little knowledge, or what I thought I had of knowledge about turbines, was basically wrong. My concept of turbine models was that they would fly really fast in circles and then explode. Which, okay, sure, that can happen, but it isn't the normal. Now, I wasn't too interested in helping this guy out. I was really focused on my IMAC and pattern. That was until he mentioned that the place that he'd bought the turbine and model from was a model shop here in Spain called Helimania, which is based on one of the islands, specifically in Mallorca. So I started getting a bit more interested, but that was because of the weekend away. It wasn't because of flying turbines. Anyway, fast forward a couple of weeks, we've got flights booked, we're heading out to Mallorca, we meet the guys behind what is really Jetcat Spain, iHobbies as they're now known, and they had for us, ready to go, this guy's plane. It was a Boomerang Elan, so it had the twin boom, twin rudder, and it probably still is today the best model to use when learning to fly RC jets. So it was all looking good. We got down to the flying field, the guy flew it, he explained how the brakes work, how the flaps work, how the retracts work, how to start and stop the turbine. We were learning loads, all was going well. That was until it was my turn. We hadn't realised until then that unlike pretty much everyone here in Spain, we all fly mode 2, but this guy, Sebastian, flew mode 1. That meant that we were very far away from home. We're on an island, we have a turbine model that we can't fly because the radio is in the wrong mode. And the only option is for Sebastian to go back to the shop, take out a new radio in mode 2, set it up from scratch and basically hand the radio either to the owner of the model or to myself, knowing that if we decide to take off, well, there's no option to hand the radio back. We had gone over for a weekend. We didn't have much choice at this point. It wasn't going to be an entirely wasted trip. So the owner of the model decided that it was worth the risk, and I had my first ever turbine flight, knowing that I had to take off, trim and land fully on my own. This wasn't even at a brilliant runway. It was probably 120, 130 metres long, dirt runway, and you had to get it into the strip. It had also been raining the night before, which meant that it was a bit boggy, which meant that you had to take off exactly right to prevent the wheels from picking up too much mud and then sticking in, basically preventing the retracts from coming out again. So anyway, I take off, and boy, this thing was motoring. It was powered by a Jetcat P80 SX. These are the turbines that had external electrovalves. It had gas start. It was about the size of this here 140. They were big turbines, they were the early turbines, but all credit to it, it worked flawlessly. Somehow, despite the fact that it seemed to be going about 1,000,000 miles an hour, I was able to land it with the voice assistance of Sebastien, but still having to keep my fingers on the sticks for the whole flight. In that very first flight, I went from having no interest in turbines all the way to being completely hooked, landing and uttering those famous words, "I have to get me one of these." The weekend went on, we had a few more flights, we had a few one-wheel or two-wheel landings because the mud caused the wheels to stick in, but all went well. We flew back home, the model was shipped home, and then I was now able to teach the owner of the model how to fly it. After all, that was the whole plan of going out there. Basically, for me to learn enough to then be able to teach the owner once we got back home. And that's exactly what we did for several months. In that time, he also built a few of the jet models, the first one being a Fabao F-15. Its fate was sealed, it was heavy, it didn't trim right, it eventually had a leak in the UAT on the second flight, flamed out, game over. Fortunately, there were some other models in process at the same time. We then flew a Hawk, which flew a lot better, and then the real fun started. He bought a Comparve Flash, the classic Flash. And that's where I really got hooked. Now, after having a couple of flights on the Flash, I decided that this was exactly where I wanted to go. CARF had also recently released the Ultra Flash, which was even faster, even more agile, even more precise, and I just knew that that was the one for me. Now, I was very fortunate that when I went to Mallorca and met with Sebastien, given the fact that after just 2 flights on this trainer, despite it still feeling like it was doing 1,000 miles an hour, I was able to do a few 4-point rolls, a few slow rolls, and a couple of knife edges, which showed him that possibly I could learn to fly a turbine half decently well. So after having the idea of my Ultra Flash, we got back in touch, and I've been very fortunate to have both his and Jetcat's support throughout my entire turbine career. This is actually the Jetcat P140 RX, which has been in my Ultra Flash, which has given me so much fun and joy. I've flown it at Jet Power, I've flown it at the Jetcat Air Show, I've flown it all over Spain and Europe. I even got to take my Ultra Flash with me to China. Now, this turbine has got so many hours on it, it's just unbelievable, and it just is still as good as it was the first day. In fact, it normally lives within the ultimatum, as I did end up selling my CARF Ultra Flash after having a minor incident in China where we had a bit of a bite taken out the wing due to the unusual landing circumstances. Basically, it went into a fence, but we don't want to say that. Anyway, so that eventually got repaired. I flew it a load more, and then eventually it got sold, and that's now in a really fun, cool splinter yellow fluorescent colour scheme. So this got rehoused into the ultimatum, and the only reason it's been out for the last few weeks is because it's been getting refitted with new fuel tanks and a few updates ready for the season. Now, this turbine now has the electrovalves inside. It has full Caro start, all of the latest gizmos. Now, for me, as you probably know by now, that isn't where it stopped. The more I've flown it, the more hooked I've got. I've got here my J10, Leonardo, and they are running these, which I've taken out for this video. The Jetcat P220 RXi. So even beyond what my RX does, these turbines even have the pump inside. That means you just have one lead and one fuel going into it. That's all you need. The ECU controls everything through a single wire, and then this connects up to the fuel tank where it sucks the fuel from. Bob's your uncle, let's go fly. Jetcat really have made their turbines as simple and as easy to run, and that is one of the reasons why I still love them today, and I really think that they are just a cut above the rest. Now, we all know that I'm going even beyond what we just mentioned. We have here my SAB Lizard, which you've probably been watching some of the videos where we've been building it. The next step, as you probably know by now, is to install the turbine. Well, I'm very pleased to say that that has now arrived, which means we can finish this and get it up in the air. And here we have the brand new, just released Jetcat P130 RX. Now, as you can see, this is actually only 1 kilo less thrust than the 140, approximately. And you can see the difference in size is just amazing. This thing is just 1.3 kilos. It spins to 127,000 RPM, and the exhaust has an exit speed of roughly 1,500 kilometers an hour. The new V12 ECU even has integrated telemetry, which means everything is just plug and play. So as the years have gone by, I've stuck with Jetcat, and Jetcat have kept evolving, making things just easier and easier and ever more fun. I really can't wait to get this into my Lizard, get it up in the air and see how she flies. So we're going to leave this video here. Make sure to tune in real soon for the next update of the Lizard when we install the turbine and all the final gubbings, and then all being well, in a couple of weeks we'll start having some flying footage of the Lizard with what is now my smallest Jetcat in the hangar, the Jetcat P130 RX. I hope you enjoyed this little look at the past and how I got started into turbines and how I've continued throughout with all of my Jetcats, having a load of fun along the way. If you did enjoy the video, leave us a like. If you want to see more content like this, leave us any comments below. Let us know what it is that you want to hear about next time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. I'm Martin Pickering, and I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave us a like and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Subscribing is always free and just means that YouTube shows you my latest videos once uploaded. And with all the cool projects, models and events coming this way, you're not going to want to miss them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.